Hey YouTube, welcome back to Custom Build Studios. Today we are going to build a PC which has ton of CPU resources which can be utilized for purpose like coding and running some specialized CPU algorithms. It can also be used as a virtual machine server. We can run ton of virtual machines on this thing, and it's not intended for gaming, though it can game since it has an RX 570 graphics card which is more than capable of gaming in 1080p medium to high settings. But for the combination of Ryzen 9 3900X with RX 570, this is intended only for some CPU intended workloads. So let me go through the parts quickly. For the processor, we are using Ryzen 9 3900X. It's a 12 core 24 thread monster of a CPU which has base clock of 3.6 GHz and boost of 4.4 GHz. Based on Zen 2 architecture, 7nm TSMC, one of the all-rounder best chip that you can buy for the money. It's comparable to the Intel's i9 10900K, but in specialized all-round workloads, it surpasses it. Since we are not comparing the processor in terms of gaming, this can handle anything we can throw at it. For the motherboard, we are using B550F Strix Gaming Wi-Fi from Asus, which is one of the best motherboard when it comes to VRM thermal quality. When it comes to power delivery, it has really good high side and low side MOSFET with good VCO part which can power even Ryzen 9 3950X at 4.3 GHz all core. When it comes to other part of the motherboard, it has AX Wi-Fi which supports both 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz Wi-Fi, has 2 M.2 NVMe slot and 6 SATA connectors for hard disk. When it comes to RAM slot, it has 4 RAM slots, and the maximum memory capacity of this motherboard is 128 GB. For the RAM, we are using 32 GB of Corsair Vengeance 3000 MHz CL16 RAM. Instead of using two 16 GB stick, we went with a single 32 GB stick in order to upgrade it later to 128 GB. For the boot drive, we are using Samsung's 970 EVO Plus NVMe M.2 SSD, which is PCI Express Gen 3, to make Windows experience snappier. It makes our Windows load faster and load our other software faster. When compared to regular 2.5 inch SATA SSD, it's around 10 to 20% faster depending on the workload. For mass storage purpose, we have also included a 1 TB Seagate Barracuda 7200 RPM hard disk to store some necessary files and some games. For the graphics card, we are using Asus RX 570 Strix Gaming, one of the best RX 570 graphics card that you can buy on the market. But this build is not intended for gaming, but I don't want to put some crappier GPU like GT210 or 710 like most other retailers do. The user told he wants to run 3 displays, but this can support up to 5 4K 60 FPS video outputs, and we all know RX 570 is more than capable of gaming in 1080p. When all the parts are out of the way, let's start the build. I usually prepare cabinet first by inserting the power supply and all the required cables which are necessary. I also mount the drives which are to be mounted, like hard disk and SSD, fit all the fans and arrange some cables basically for cable management. When cabinet part is out of the way, let's come back to the motherboard. First, unbox the motherboard carefully and keep it on an anti-static surface such as the cardboard box in which the motherboard came in. Unbox the processor and the included Wraith Prism RGB cooler. Yes, we are using the included cooler. We are not going for an exotic cooling since that is more than sufficient to cool the chip in its stock condition. Slowly take the retention arm and insert the processor inside the socket and close the retention arm. After closing the retention arm, put the processor cooler on top of it and use the clips to secure the processor fan to the socket properly. Since we are using M.2 NVMe SSD from Samsung, on the motherboard's first primary PCIe SSD slot there is a metal heatsink. Remove that and insert the SSD properly to the socket. After inserting the SSD, we have to screw in the SSD with the heatsink which it came. Before putting the heatsink, we have to peel off the plastic cover in order to make the contact possible for SSD and the heatsink which is included on the motherboard. When it comes to RAM insertion, unbox the RAM and mark According to the manual, we have to install the RAM in the second slot and counted from the CPU side, which is the prime slot in which RAM should be installed. Before inserting the motherboard inside the cabinet, we have to first check the standoffs. The standoffs must be in the place properly, or else we have to install the standoff using the regular screwdriver, which has the standoff bit attached to it. After attaching the standoff, just check the motherboard whether it aligns or not. If it aligns, this motherboard comes with the included IO shield, so we don't have to worry about IO shield. Just have to lower the motherboard as down and put the screws necessary. Now it's time to install the graphics card. In order to install the graphics card, unbox the graphics card first and open the PCI brackets inside your cabinet. There are some screws attached to it. Just remove the cabinet screws and break off the back PCI graphics card cover which is included in your cabinet. We can't unscrew it, we have to break it off. After breaking off the PCI slot cards, insert the graphics card slowly to the primary slot of your motherboard in order to directly connect your CPU and the GPU using the primary PCI lanes. After that, take the power cord from the power supply, which is usually a 6-pin or 8-pin depending on the graphics card. Attach it to the graphics card and you are done with the graphics card. The main part here which makes the PC look better is the cable management. We use zip ties and many other methods to manage the cables properly and route the cables at the back. I'll fast forward this because I don't want to bore you with cable management footage. When it comes to testing, I use Cinebench R20 run at least more than 10 times in order to check the stability and CPU temperature, because Cinebench R20 is the best tool which can stress the CPU to 100% max, which uses Cinema 4D renderer to render a scene. While running this test, our processor scored around 7070 more or less depending on the run and background tasks. When it comes to temperature, our CPU while running this reached maximum of 86 degrees Celsius, which for a Wraith Prism cooler is more than sufficient, because this chip has safety limit up to 95 degrees Celsius, but we have to maintain the chip under 90 degrees Celsius. So the system was stable when this test was run. When it comes to the GPU part, I use Unigine Heaven benchmark set to ultra, and our GPU reached maximum temperature of 73 degrees Celsius, which is perfectly acceptable for an RX 570. It produced really good scores and we experienced no crash while running this test, and the system was completely stable. This indicates that this graphics card can game in 1080p and can also be used as a gaming PC if the user got bored. The PC was built and it passed all our tests. The system was 100% stable in all the tests we run. Catch you guys later. Thanks for tuning in to Custom Build Studios. If you like the content, please like or subscribe. Also comment if you have any doubts in the build. Signing off, this is Kiran from Custom Builds. Bye.